So the movie we're talking about today is Drishyam, which is a Malayalam film that has Mohanlal and Meena in it. And it's a movie that came out in 2013, and we're also reviewing the sequel, Drishyam 2, that came out in 2021.
It came out literally a couple of days ago, so we just watched it recently. First, we're gonna start with like no spoilers. What we did on Friday was we watched the first one. I've never seen the first one before, so we watched the first one in Malayalam, like the original movie, and then right after finishing the first one, we watched the second one. So now we're gonna give our opinions on what we thought. I want to tell you, was it worth it to watch a movie that's not in your own language? Like, was it worth it to bother like reading subtitles? That's like the real question here. And personally, this is one of like very few movies that I've seen that's outside of like my language. The only ones I've seen is mainly like I think it was Raid and Parasite, which I could remember.
Well, for me, I've started branching into Malayalam, I would say like 4 or 5 years ago, but I wouldn't say I'm a big expert into it. But they're known to be for their realistic cinema. It's not very like massy.
Okay, so in the first movie, the first half up until the intermission point,
I generally like the first one.
at the very beginning of the movie, I would say it was quite a slow start. Like you're just like wondering, where is this gonna go? Should I bother watching this? There's a very long start scene, like, but you can see like it kind of sets up this theme for like a potential like a serious movie. First half of the movie was more like more light-hearted, like we're introducing the characters and like getting to know the characters. So like at this point I'm still thinking like how much am I going to like this movie, and I'm still thinking, do I really want to keep reading these subtitles like to bother watch until the end of the movie? Once I reached the interval point, oh like this is the moment the movie's gonna start. This is what the whole build-up was all about. First half is literally slice of life, and then second half is you jumped into that thriller part of it. So like this big situation has happened and how are they gonna handle it. That's what the second half is. It's grabbed the attention by this point, by the time it's the second half, and then you're just trying to see, whoa, what's good, like how are they going to deal with this, and you like your mind can't predict what's going to happen next. There's so many twists and turns in this movie, and like you think, yeah, this is probably, it's going to be like this, it's going to be like this.
It's very subtle twist. It's not
Yeah,
like a big
yeah,
bada
it's
boom
like
twist.
really small twists. But then the director or like the producer, I don't know, is the director, yeah, the director is able to like kind of push the audience to think, oh, this is gonna happen, but no, it doesn't happen. Nothing like that happens. It switches around and something else happens. You're like, what? You think you understood the whole movie, but you don't know anything. Okay, now I give it to you. What do you think?
Okay, so personally, I thought, because I watched the Tamil version, so just to give you an example, with the Tamil version, it was the movie opens up through the main character's eyes. So he's directly sitting down in the position, and he would just open it in a more in a flashback manner. But I really like the original version, because as you're saying, the intro shot was a very long panel shot, which basically just invites us into their universe. We follow basically the policeman who has no idea what he's going to go into. We see what he sees. So instead of being introduced to as a film, we're introduced to this village, to these characters. We see this long tracking shot of him. And immediately from there, I just told in my head, this is someone that wants to tell a story rather than glorify the male character. Even the main character is only basically only shown, I think, at the 10-minute, 12-minute mark, and you just see
Yeah,
this long build up of basically
it's
of a
a very
policeman
big risk.
inter
Yeah.
yeah, the policeman is that we don't know, by the way, is interacting with other characters, and we see the main character through a supporting character's eyes, which I thought was a very, 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 very
I feel
interesting move.
like this movie, it kind of relied on the fact that like people aren't gonna switch off after watching a couple of minutes. It's more like the fact that they know like whoever's like thinking to watch this movie intends to watch the whole movie, because it's not one of those movies where it's trying to catch your attention in the very first glimpse. It was more like where is this going? I wonder what's gonna happen next. That was basically the intro, wasn't it?
When it comes to the first half, we get introduced to this character, we get introduced to Mohanlal, we get introduced to his wife, to his kids. we get introduced to each of the characters' traits, and as the movie goes along, we realize how much of these traits are gonna play an impact in the second half. For example, when it comes to the main character Mohanlal, he's into movies. He analyzes everything he sees through movies, even though he's uneducated. This is stipulated several times in the movie. He's not educated. He doesn't know how to read, but yet he has a bucket of information. He's able to use information that he saw from movies, applicate in real life, and this cleverly foreshadow the fact that education, even though the people that he's going to be against afterwards are highly educated, smart people, he's on another level compared to them because he is street smart. He's the definition of being street smart.
Yeah.
Traits are already there. You see the wife being naive, being a lovable, naive person, as in her world consists of her husband and her kids. She doesn't know anything outside of it. So you can see how the character's arc are gonna shape up. You can see this the older daughter being slightly adventurous, yet she's quite into her roots. She knows the way the world works, but at the same time she has that naivety that will play a part later on. Again, as you said, the pre-interval block is when the movie really kicked into gear and you go into unexpected manner. You knew something was gonna happen along those lines. You could tell as the movie goes, you can tell, okay, there's something fishy that's gonna happen. But the movie goes into high gear when Mohanlal finds out about the killings and the interval point. The interval point is a banger for me. The main character itself, it's not good versus bad. They're both very flawed. They just basically both we get both of their perspective.
One of the good points about this movie is like how real it feels, uh, and like relatable, I guess. Like it's just like silly arguments you have at home or something, like with your family or something, and it feels like really realistic, and it just seems like just some down to earth like family at home going about their business.
I want to finish it on this point. Are you open to watch other languages movie, like in terms of when it comes to Indian,
I
Malayalam, when it
think
comes to like
definitely like seeing this movie makes you realize like how much of cinema you're missing out by not watching it. is it would be ridiculous to say you're a movie fan if you haven't seen like basically these movies, isn't it? Because you're missing out like 80% of like movies out there, like the good movies out there, by not seeing it. So I definitely think like uh, this is like a journey I can start on basically. So that's my opinion about the first movie, but now the second movie.